everyone, this is Alice again.
Hello, and Neil.
We are going to watch episode 3 of the Three Kingdoms. So, in this episode, I don't know what's in this episode.
You haven't actually watched this far yet?
It's just a long time ago, I can't remember.
Okay, fair enough.
And so, Neil wants me to talk about the xiao culture in Chinese culture.
Yeah, I remember I asked an episode or two ago, possibly in the first one. You asked, you're familiar with Xiao? And I said, yes, I am, because I am. But that doesn't necessarily mean that anyone else is. So, what is it?
Yeah, I searched well in English. It's translated as filial piety. I don't know how that stands for in English. But
Go ahead and explain what it is.
So my understanding of xiao is a lot more emphasizing on gratitude towards parents who you should be grateful the most, because they give life to you and they give possibly the most to you than anyone else. They care you the most, and they give you the first and the most love in this world. For most people's case. So, in the Chinese culture, Chinese culture is a lot influenced by Buddhism.
Yes.
And it's not just influenced by Buddhism, it just agrees with Buddhism in many ways. One of them is they appreciate simple life, and also to be grateful and believe in karma. And this sort of thing already existed before Buddhism arrived.
Is that what you say? That what you'd say then, that Buddhism found such fertile ground for spreading in China when it arrived there?
Yes. Buddhism also made a bit of change to fit in. And such like the xiao culture. Buddhism has a Pusa, Bodhisattva, that is particularly about xiao teaching. And to be grateful to parents.
Yeah.
And
could you give a few sort of illustrative examples then?
Oh yeah, the first ever, best xiao example in history of China is Shun Emperor, who existed more than 3,000 years ago. And he was one of the three emperors before written history.
Yeah.
Existed in myth. Yeah. You can call it myth. It's just how to say? They exist in history books, definitely. But
it's just that there weren't history books at the time because it wasn't written down so systematically and carefully. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, always just for too long, all the books, no matter in what type of form, just can't exist that long.
Yeah.
And
it's all been sort of lost as time goes on, you mean?
Yeah. So he is one of the best example of xiao because he's got a stepmom and a stepbrother, but he and they are very bad to him, and they made his own father hate him as well, and so the whole family even want to kill him, but he's always being very nice to them. And always trying to think good things about them, trying to be trying to show his gratitude to them, and trying to maintain a good family.
Yeah.
And he was chased away once, but eventually he lived such a good life. He came back and took the family to live with him when he's rich. But they are very bad. They still want to kill him to occupy what he has.
That's base ingratitude, that.
Yes, and they tried several times, but he's very clever and he went through without harm. And he carried on life without mentioning it. Just pretend nothing happened. And then once the stepmom and the father are having are very deeply ill, the stepbrother is a very bad person. He just don't care. So he found a doctor, who came and told them that they need a special medicine.
Yeah.
And is it a phoenix? Can't remember. This is just a miss. Yeah, kind of a miss. And
Well, I guess either way, it's a very special medicine.
that phoenix, possibly it's a phoenix, told them that they need a special medicine, which is the heart of their son. So that to me, it's the stepbrother who's actually the son of the stepmom and the father. But he just ran away and saying, no, 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 I'm not their children. And he said, okay, let me try. I'm also their son. And
he cut out his own heart.
In fact, it didn't. I think it's just a test. And because of his xiao, moved the heaven and also moved the stepmom and the father. They realize who's really good to them, and they start to accept him really as a family member. So yeah, they finally are cured. I guess it's more because in the story, it's more because their bad heart is cured, so their body is cured as well. Yeah, example like this. Oh, of course, this is extreme example. There is a book in Chinese that is 孝 book. There are 24 extreme example of 孝 collected. Not all of them are extreme examples, but quite a few of them. There's also one xiao person being a very good example and famous in China for thousands of years, who's called Huang Xiang. He did purely simple things. He was a child and he only got a father. He knows his father's really working hard, and so he wants to help, but he's only just a small child. What he did was, just in winter, it is very cold to sleep in bed, getting into the cold bed and trying to warm it up, and then try to sleep. So he noticed that of his father, and he every time before his father getting into bed, he got in first to warm it up, then let his father in. And another thing he did famous is in summer, it is very hot and lots of mosquitoes. He will try to get rid of the
He stood over his father,
first.
catching each one with chopsticks. Pia, pia, pia.
He first tried to get rid of mosquitoes for his father to prepare the bed, and also making it all cool by fanning the whole thing.
Yeah.
The bedding, and also it is, although simple things, but quite moving, and so as a small child he can be so thoughtful and showing gratitude, so he is very famous in China as a good example. Yes, so that is xiao. I think the idea is people can be easily lost in desire, yeah?
Yeah.
The key to happiness is gratitude. If you don't appreciate what you got, then no matter how much you got, you are going to be unhappy. And so, to practice gratitude, in fact, gratitude isn't a thing you passively feel it. No,
you actively do it, don't you?
You actively do it, and it's kind of an ability. You need to practice. And so the Chinese people, ever since ancient time, already knows this very thoroughly, that they emphasize the idea of xiao ever since little, and it is the foundation of education in China. The writing of the word character education, 教, is on the left part is the writing of 孝, And then on the right part is the writing of Wen, which is literature. And so it is saying that education should be based on starting from 孝 first. And that is in ancient time of China. All the schools, first book they teach is 孝 book. And almost all the books in ancient Chinese classics all mention 孝 plenty.
Including this?
Three Kingdoms isn't considered a Jing. Jing is classic books. Three Kingdoms is considered novel, so just a normal book. And I mean the Jing. Jing is books of classic teaching. That is either
non-fiction, in other words.
Yeah, kind of non-fiction, philosophical books.
Right, I get you.
But that is what the scholars in ancient time of China all study of. And also what was really taught in school. Three Kingdoms, this sort of book wasn't taught in school ever. It's just a pastime,
Yeah.
Not considered can be listed in books in school. Oh, of course nowadays different, but in ancient time of China, it's not. Only one sort of book can be called Jing. Confucianism classic books is Jing. Buddhism, Taoism, classic works are Jing. Oh yes, of course, all the religious famous books are also Jing.
Okay, so let's think back to where we were at the end of the last episode.
There's a
as well.
lot more to talk about this. It's just it's a very, very big thing in the Chinese culture. It's just there are so many things to talk about it.
Yeah.
But
would you say then that in the era that we're looking at, the Three Kingdoms period, was this of particular importance at this time? I mean, clearly it's important all throughout Chinese history, but I know you've told me in the past that there's times when it's still more or less important than it had been in the past. Yeah, I guess all the characters would have known about this, right? They would have all thought about this at some point. How much would it have factored into their lives?
It just is very important almost all through Chinese history. Except from the parts when, China was also invaded by tribes.
Mongolians.
Yeah, like Mongolians or some northern tribes, some other northern tribes.
Yeah.
And for a period of that, at first at least, they wouldn't appreciate it that much. But later on, they try to integrate with the Chinese culture.
Yeah.
Such like Qing dynasty, they are also minorities from the, now they are minorities. And they used to be also from the north, almost in the Mongolian area. Mm-hmm. And they at first wasn't directly adapting, but they adapt very quickly into the original Chinese culture. And so the Xiao culture is again bringing back. They also values the importance of Xiao. The thing is, Xiao is it stabilize family and then it stabilize society. Yeah. So it also benefits the rulers. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, many people would consider, wow, that's just a very old-fashioned, or they don't even believe the teaching of it. They think it's just the rulers are trying to fool the people. But from the philosophy aspects, I think it does have logic to benefit everyone. It benefits the person himself to be happy because knowing how to be grateful, mm-hmm. and it benefits the family to be harmonious, and it benefits the society to be more stable and less fighting a war as well. The Chinese mm-hmm. culture, the Chinese civilization from the very beginning are based on agriculture. And the thing about agriculture is it has to do on time.
Yeah, there's no getting away from that, yeah.
If you have war happening constantly, it'll end up a whole year, there's no harvest, and then the next year you're going to die. Mm. And so stabilization is very important for the society in China through thousands of years. That's why Chinese people really hate the idea of separation, because that just marked as unstable all over it. And then that will mean not just the killing, but also famine.
Yeah, and you might say at the start of all these events there is indeed famine, and obviously these are natural events, and
yeah, even in good times, even when there is no war, there could be famine.
Yeah,
because of nature effects, nature whatever reason, and so.
But even in good times, it can happen if there's no harvest going on.
Yeah, even in good times. So, yeah, stabilization is very important. And so they don't want to add extra problems to it. But that doesn't mean it never happens, to be unstable. When times comes, then revolution also happens. And it happened through thousands of years, tons of times, just countless of times. And successful revolution also happened at least 10 times. Changing of the dynasties, definitely that is a revolution. And some even from the very bottom. Yeah, such like the, who's that? The Zhu Yuanzhang, the starter of the Ming dynasty, he's a beggar. He's totally from a farmer background, and he's been a beggar for years at the start. He ended up to be an emperor. And also Liu Bang. Liu Bang at first was also just a farmer.
This would be the main character of this series then, was it?
Liu Bang? No. Liu Bang is the starter of the Han dynasty, which is the dynasty is ending now after 400 years. So Liu Bei, since he's also having Liu, he claimed he's the descendants of Liu Bang.
And he's the guy we saw in the orchard swearing a pact with his two new buds in the last episode, right?
Yeah, he should in fact be the main character of this book.
Yes, and perhaps poor editing on the part of... as far as we're concerned, I mean, I guess Chinese people who are watching this are going to be already familiar with this story, and that's not going to be... what's going on kind of moment for them. But, for me...
in China, it's a well-known story. They swore to be brothers, how they met and how they, why they swore to be brothers, that was told millions of times.
Just sort of assumed knowledge.
Yeah, and also this drama, I think it is on purposely trying to tell the story from the view of Cao Cao, which is very different from the past. In the past, Cao Cao is just the bad guy in the book, and
he's already
a side character.
I mean, he's already kind of done some pretty douchey things that we've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what was he did last episode? He went he was on the run. He managed to rope in an official who came with him, and who was rumbled and got an absolutely pathetic bounty laid on his head. Just insulting, this guy and then he ran off to his uncle's house, was it?
Yeah.
His great uncle's house. And
it's a family friend.
Yeah, family friend's house. He was welcomed in, and the guy went off to town to get him some grub. And then he chopped his way out because he was being afraid.
Yeah, he's being suspicious.
Yeah.
That's just his character, being suspicious. And also, people can be suspicious, and then they just risk their life to find out first, yeah?
Yeah.
But he is like, I would rather risk others' life. And I would rather...
chop first, ask questions later.
Yes. And it's like no gratitude, just okay, I did it, and fine, I carry on. It's hard to say whether that's bad. I mean, you see
clearly
what happened there.
For him, worked out in the end, didn't it?
I mean, you see what happened there wasn't just him being suspicious. The other guy also, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other guy feel terrible after realizing, yeah. But he doesn't. He just like.
Whatever happened, deal with it now.
Yeah, he's like that. And I think,
what's done is done.
Yeah. I think somehow that, I don't know, that possibly, it's very controversial.
It's psychopathic, but it is also doubtless very effective.
Yeah, I guess, being an emperor for being a king to govern such a huge country and with near enemy who threaten your throne, you and in such an unstable time, you just you cannot always focus on things already happened, and possibly that is one of the reasons why he succeed. Yeah, I guess modern people, it's very hard to see how these people, these so-called 枭雄, they are not heroes. They are controversial heroes.
Yeah.
They thrived in time when it's unstable.
Yeah.
And somehow this unstable makes them coming out very quickly.
No, I think that's very relatable for a lot of modern people.
Huh?
I think a lot of modern people would find that very understandable.
What? Understandable? What do you mean?
As in able, you're saying it's hard to relate.
You think it's not hard to relate?
I think for many modern people it probably isn't hard to relate.
But modern life, your life isn't that threatened. Just kind of imagine you living in Africa where there's war happening everywhere and you just have to stand in and thrive in that.
I mean, yeah, there might not be so many direct threats to your life, but still the social forces at play are very similar when you look at it like that.
Social force? What?
Yeah, the interactions between people, even if the stakes aren't necessarily as high, then the game is identifiably quite similar.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I guess
the modern life, being in peace, we already have less threatened. You can't imagine how your life been threatened, and but they have to live in that kind of pressure, and and it's not just from one aspect, it's from everywhere because it's a whole chaos. So yeah, I think
if you know what I mean, you'll know what I mean. Okay, yeah, you want to get started then?
It is always bad as this.
Oh, we get 480p quite often. Goofed. Oh yeah. What's this? What's styled? We often see that in these notes come up. I'll see it in English.
This is an ancient culture that educated people will choose a name later on as their 字, and
what?
It's called 字. So 名字 is the modern word for name, but actually it's a combination of 名 and 字. 名 is given from parents ever since birth. 字 is your own choice when you are educated, starting school, or later on. You can change yourself once you choose, and you tell everyone, and they will call your 字 because that's a name you choose for yourself.
So if you're educated, you get to pick your own nickname.
Kind of, yeah. You give your good names. You give yourself whatever name you want to show your ambition, to show your value. Philosophy.
Show how awesome you are.
No, normally people would choose words with virtuous meaning.
You can call me Neil the Humble. I'm the most humble man you've ever seen.
No. Well, you possibly can choose the word humble in your 字. And possibly there are many doing that. And
that was not a joke then, it turns out.
Well, it's not a thing to show off. No. It's more to tell people your value. Well,
Sounds like showing off to me.
what? Doesn't mean that is what you can.
It's not to show off, it's just to show how great you are.
No, it's to show what you aim at.
Oh, it's just to show how great you want to be then.
Kind of.
Oh, alright. Alright, I guess that's a bit different.
And so here you can see Meng, that is Mencius's name, and that is a big scholar, second to Confucius in the Confucianism.
Which was getting on for 1,000 years before this was set also, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then De, virtue, that is the name he chose. So 字 is also kind of like when you write a book, you will give a different name.
Oh, his pen name, you mean? His
pen
author
name. Yeah, it's also used as pen name. And also, it is the original name should be just when talking with the kin or the elder generation, and you talk with them, you will give them your original name. And they refer to you with that as well. But 字 is between friends, between same generation or lower.
Between your bros, in other words.
Yeah, they refer to each other with the 字.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, before you start another one. I got another question. Something I just remembered too. In the first episode, then when Cao Cao's trying to get into the party, Councillor Dong's party, then Councillor Dong calls him by his childhood name, clearly sort of insulting him. Or according to the notes.
Okay,
What's that about then, childhood names?
Well, it's just a nickname, you know.
It actually is a nickname then.
Yeah, like between showing affection when little.
Yeah. Or insulting him, in this case.
Yeah, when... yeah, because he's adult now.
Yeah.
And,
big baby.
No, it's not just that. It's like showing, you know, in China, the hierarchy of age is very important. And
I guess this is sort of the other side of the xiao then, that you know if you're showing such respect and admiration and gratitude to parents, then they're higher up the scale.
Yeah, and so in the whole society, it is already so deeply rooted that way, and so when people want to insult you, they even insult you of this way. That is, they call you their son or their grandson.
I kind of do that sometimes when I'm winding people up.
And in the Chinese culture, somehow that is offensive, and so when calling him with his nickname is kind of saying you are younger generation than me. You almost my son or grandson generation.
You'll learn one day, kid.
Yeah, kind of like that. And also earlier I was talking about 字, yeah? And when people are adult age, there will be a ceremony of kind of like celebrating their reaching adulthood.
Yeah.
And they will be given the 字. They'll have the
decide
字.
their own.
Yeah, they can choose.
Yeah.
Between friends, yeah, they all call each other with 字.
Yeah.
And if they call others with the original name, it will be offensive. It's to show respect.
Some very seriously taken nicknames.
But elder people or people who are your boss can call your original name. But they sometimes also show respect by calling the name you chose, the 字. And quite often they call you your title.
That's something else again.
That's also to show respect. Such like the king will not. Sometimes they don't directly call the prime minister their name, although they can.
Or this.
In order to show respect, the king or emperor will call the prime minister prime minister.
Oh yeah, yeah, we have that in English as well quite often.
Yeah, in order to show respect.
Yeah.
So in fact, the 字 is the most commonly used name for most people, particularly the educated people.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that in this, isn't it? He's very often called Mongda, especially by people roughly his peers.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, hit it then.
孟德。
There we go. It's all gone wrong. We're idiots.
作孽了，误会他们了。他们不是要杀我们，是要杀猪。孟德呀，你太多疑了！咱们错杀了好人，做下大恶了。
Ruined his sword.
事已至此，悲叹何用？赶紧亡命吧。走吧。
May want to take some food with you.
怎么走？不能走大路。嘘。什么声音？声音。往这边走。你这个臭倔驴！吕博士，哪儿呢？快走吧！哎，孟德贤侄吗？你们干啥呢？啊！莫非要走？哎！孟德贤侄，干啥呢你们？啊，这是要去哪儿啊？
伯父，这2天风声太紧，官兵追索甚急。假如我们留下，会给你带来祸患，所以我们还是走了为妙。
那可不成啊！瞧啊，我把美酒都过来了，嘿嘿，家里正杀猪煮猪肉呢。今晚咱们呢是吃饱喝足，一醉方休，嘿，谁也不能走啊！哎，你待着干嘛？赶快给我回家啊！哎呀，别在这儿待着了。啊，这大冷天的，你看你。
Oh no.
See, this is the thing. He's really different from many people.
Yeah. Top 10 anime betrayals.
He doesn't want to, but when it comes to, he's not afraid to do it. He'll do it.
Oh man, that is cold. What the donkey ever done to you, man?
He's just another.
曹孟德，
It's just a psychopath.
吕伯奢是我们的救命恩人，是位义士啊！对，他还是你父亲的结义兄弟，是你的伯父。对，我们已经错杀了吕家10几口无辜的人，你为什么还要杀了吕伯奢？正因为已经错杀无辜了，所以必须要斩草除根。你说什么？你想想，吕伯奢要是回到家里，看到一家10几口都被我们杀了，他能不惊不怒，能不带人来追杀吗？只有杀了他，才能永绝后患。你，曹孟德呀，
Very hard
受
to
恩不报，
say
你
he's
知
good
错还
or
杀，
bad.
你还有半点
I
忠
don't know,
义
I
之
call
心
that
吗？
pretty bad.
宁我夫人，无人负我，
Yeah, this is
你说什么？
one of the most famous thing he's been criticized to ever say.
You're next, bud. No witnesses.
宁肯我负天下人，休叫天下人负我。
什么？
Yeah, it's very anti-Confucianism.
You're next, bud.
This is a little bit mad.
No dice.
龙太兄，恐怕我们得回去。
要回哪里去？
陈告县，
为什么？
此去城流还有几百里路，我们已经2天2夜都没吃没喝了。如果再这么走下去，我们非冻饿而死不可。
我还以为曹孟德良心发现，要回去安葬吕公及其家人。
龙太兄不必太动感情，死者不可复生，而生者仍需肩负大业。他已经把吃的喝的都准备好了，如果我们不回去，他不是白死了？
I just feel like it's really hardcore. You can explain it from 2 aspects. Either he is really selfish or he's really unselfish to the way that he's totally hardcore about his mission he wants to complete.
你的大恩大德、大仁大义，侄儿至死都不会忘。侄儿想念你，呜呼痛哉，痛哉呜呼。
既杀之，又祭之，天下还有这等无耻的事情？
伯父，曹操定会为你老人家报仇雪恨，
By
举义讨贼，
never mind.
破秦天下。之后，曹操大业有成，定会赐你丹书铁券，还要册封你为公侯，让你老人家的在天之灵永享万世香火。
听你这话，不像是逃亡的罪徒，倒像是明天的帝王。
龙太兄，人心叵测，世事难料，将来的事儿，谁说得定？行吧，心思已毕，吃东西吧。我已经10几天都没有吃过肉了，你呢？
Just poking it with the sword.
想什么呢？
我在想，
Oh yeah, crickets.
他们个个有情有义。
但是你却抛弃了他们，跟着我走了，啊？这是为
At
什
least you're not bullying them
么？
anymore.
是不是说明我曹操比那些蛐蛐儿强点儿啊？所以说， 在乱世当中，只有强者才配谈仁义，弱者只有配抛弃。你是不是有点后悔啊，蒙太兄？当初在中牟县的大牢里，应该一刀把我的脑袋砍下来，装到坛子里，送到京师，到董卓那儿去，换几个小钱儿。
It ain't too late
因为你是英雄豪杰，所以我不惜舍生忘死，抛家弃官跟随于你。今天我真不知道，你是忠义之士，还是奸恶之徒。
公台兄，自古以来就是大奸思忠，大伪思真，忠义和奸恶都不是从表面就能看得出来的。也许你昨天看错了我曹操，可是今天呢，你又看错了。但是我仍然是我，我从来都不怕别人看错我。哼。行了，走，吃吧。
Asleep.
like a baby.
You see, it's really different, you know. Liu Bei is completely the opposite. That's why the book is always using Liu Bei as the main character, yeah.
杀了10几
The
口无赖，
storytelling is always praising
竟
Liu
然
Bei's
能
side.
如此汗水。唉，曹操是个什么人呢？他还是人不是？
宁肯我负天下人，休叫天下人负我。
曹操此话比剑锋更狠呐！剑锋只杀吕氏一家，而曹操这话却能尽逐天下人心。此人比董卓更奸诈，更危险，更可怕。此人如不死，必为大害。我何不将他杀了，为天下人除害
？Are we getting another Chuckle Brothers attempt at assassination here?
我昨天救了他，今天却又杀了他，我这样做好吗？我不是反复无度了吗？曹操无疑，
Yes, but it would also make me very rich.
I think possibly Cao Cao wasn't sleeping. He just didn't know it.
Huh. 要杀便杀嘛，何必犹豫呢？搞得自己很痛苦。
You can talk, mate. After all that nonsense of the
眼下已是数百年来
assassinate
从未有过的大乱。
one guy in the
京
first
城中，董卓祸乱朝廷，屠戮忠良，擅行废立，亵渎朝纲。京城外，各路诸侯、刺史、将军，眼看着董卓 独霸京师，权倾天下，哪一个不是又气又怒又嫉妒？而乱世，正是英雄辈出之时。所谓时势造英雄，而想举义起兵，成就一番大业。
儿啊，董贼势大，只恐一时难以为敌呀。
而在京城时，曾经屈身示于董贼。据我观察，董贼所倚仗的，就是一支西凉军，而西凉军虽然骁勇，贼首董卓却是并无远见与卓识。此人独霸洛阳，手握朝纲，却只懂得奸淫烧杀掠夺，胸中并无大志。
儿啊，我已把曹氏家产全部变卖，得金25000。你可用它招募兵勇，打造战甲旗幡。
不够，远远不够。成大事者不可无钱，却又不完全在于钱。首先是人，得以英雄豪杰，胜过10万金银。
报！曹老太爷，各地壮士风闻曹孟德回来，都赶来相聚。在下魏国人士乐进，字文谦，特来投拜曹操，共襄大义。在下巨鹿人士李典，字曼成，愿效于曹公鞍前马后，不必俘获，生死相随。
夏侯渊、夏侯惇兄弟领壮士1000余，特来投奔曹兄，共同讨贼。
孟德能够得到列位壮士相助，实乃天意，大事必成。大伙儿快坐吧。
Yeah, he kind of made an advertisement about him by Dong chasing him, you know.
大哥，
Yeah.
袁绍派人通知
that was
说
actually
他
quite
已从
clever.
渤海起兵，沿途邀请了18镇诸侯，欲讨伐董贼，力请大哥前去入盟的。
But that's the effect.
中原18镇诸侯都加盟义军了，仅此就占了大半个天下。我看董卓和他的西凉军，岂不是弹指可灭吗？
大哥，赶紧动身吧，弟兄们与你同去。
大哥，弟兄们愿跟你前往。
大伙儿想想，这18镇诸侯原本都是各地枭雄，哪一个手里没有几万兵马？我们就凭着这点家族子弟，怎么可能在盟军中占有一席之地？但是如果没有一席之地，就算你打败了董卓，我们又能得到什么呢？这些诸侯原本就是要争官、争饷、争城池，谁会把我们放在眼里？
大哥真是有远见啊！董贼还没有灭掉，你就已经看到攻城之后的事了。
智者虑远，见微知著。
那你说怎么办？难道我们不去入盟了吗？
当然要入，因为我已经给18路诸侯准备了一份大礼，而这恰恰是18路诸侯最要紧之物，它的价值胜过10万雄兵。
大哥，什么礼物啊？
天子诏书。大伙儿想想，18路诸侯什么都有了，兵马、粮草、军械，唯独缺少了讨贼所必须的天子诏。无此，他们凭什么举义讨贼？凭什么号令天下？他们岂非名不正言不顺了吗？而我刚刚从京师出来，只有我 能够携出天子密诏。也就是说，只有了我曹操，18镇诸侯才算是名正言顺，盟军才算是奉天举义。
大哥，天子真的授予你讨贼诏书了吗？
当然没有。不过，我可以替天子拟一道诏书。
矫诏啊，矫诏。
对，假的，假的，有时候比真的还管用。
Yeah, but they need. Yeah, this kind of thing. You have to do it for a name. That's always in the Chinese history.
Yeah.
名不正言不顺. So do whatever thing you have to be with a proper legal purpose first.
Do all the paperwork, you know?
It's just you have to be.
It's got to go through the proper channels, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you have to do it under the name of moral.
Yeah.
And you have to get the support from everyone on that aspect.
It has to be seen to be legit.
义军第一阵，南阳太守袁术率军2万会盟。第
What
二
are
阵
these spear things they've got? Look at that.
率军
Yeah, that is the 戈. It is in that shape.
Interesting.
2万会盟。第二阵，冀州刺史韩馥率军2万会盟。
Oh boy, things gonna get
刘
loud.
太守张邈。第7阵，东郡太守乔瑁。第8阵，山阳太守袁仪。第10阵，北海太守孔融。第13阵，西凉太守。
So this drama is totally just the Cao Cao story.
Yeah.
And so many things are happening on the other side of the main character. And
Fill us in a bit then.
they sworn to be brothers, yeah?
Yeah.
And then they also came to join this thing.
This same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the main character, yes, want to be brother even before Dong Zhuo got into power.
Yeah.
And they saved Dong Zhuo once. But then they are really looked down upon by Dong Zhuo. And so they just didn't stay with Dong Zhuo.
Base ingratitude.
Also, there is a story about the other king, the other kingdom. You know, the Wu.
Yeah. Which we haven't really seen anything
yeah.
from at all in this series, have we?
Yeah.
So far.
The father of that king of Wu, who later on plays an important role, who is called he's called Sun Jian. He also was very active and played an important part in the fighting with Dong Zhuo.
Yeah.
Okay, so not too many. Only just missed the part of they saved Dong Zhuo.
Okay.
马腾，第14阵，北平太守公孙瓒；第16阵，吴承统长沙太守孙坚。陆刘备拜见元公。
These guys have basically come from all over the country then, right?
新梁马腾拜见元公。好好，快请快请。长沙孙坚拜见元公。好，请。北平公孙瓒拜见元公。
Look at that armor, that's incredible. What a boss. Ooh, hello, here's Liu Bei.
二弟三弟，那就是陈留城。 袁绍正在汇集各路诸侯，我们这就去入盟吧。
去是去，但有一条，大哥非议我不可。
三弟说，
既然是去入盟，那大哥就得做盟主，要不咱不入这破盟。
三弟，你有所不知，袁绍4世3公，名动天下，他所召集的18镇诸侯，个个都是刺史、郡守之类的人物，任谁都比你哥哥的名头大。
哎，咱不管这个，咱只要问问，在这些诸侯当中，可有像哥哥这样的汉皇后裔吗？
只怕没有。
可有像哥哥这样的仁义君子吗？
只怕也没有。
这不就结了？大哥不做盟主，谁做呀？难道叫我张飞做吗？哼，我最怕这啰嗦事了。所以进城之后，盟主是我大哥的，这副盟主
I know who this guy reminds me of. He's Chinese Jack Black.
俺张飞嘛，就做个先锋将军。
好了，三弟，不可胡言，快进城吧。
三弟啊，咱哥志大岂在一时啊，还是赶紧进城吧。各路英雄既然已经到了城里，咱们也好早早的会会他们。
刘备
大哥，大哥呀，整明白了，这盟主提到人做还是不做呀？
三弟，此次会盟举义，我们是为了剿灭董贼，振兴汉室，并不是为了加官进爵，贪图高官厚禄。进，
知道了，大哥，走，进城。袁绍，
Look at them shoulders.
非常感谢各位将军前来会盟，共襄大义。今日之会，真乃我大汉王朝的中兴之兆，空前之盛世啊！
就是洛阳朝廷又何曾聚过这么多英雄豪杰呀？
董贼要是知道我等在此聚义，肯定会闻风丧胆。我等兵锋所向，破洛阳取董卓首级，真如探囊取物啊
！18镇诸侯往这一站，这大半个江山就在我们的脚底下了。剩下那一小片江山，也是弹指可取。列位将军，此时此刻，我各路人马相加，步军45万，骑兵9万，这比董卓的西凉军还多出2倍有余。如此强大的军力，何愁贼寇不灭？
是啊，是啊，是啊，对，
有道理，有道理，有道理。是。袁公，各位将军，在下有一言。我等既然是聚义会盟，必须先立一位德高望重之士为盟主，统一号令，方可进军剿贼。
对，是啊，我们都应该遵从盟主号令啊。
袁本初，4世3公，汉相后裔，门生故吏遍天下，贤德之声远播四海。在下的意思，请袁公担当义军盟主，我等遵奉号令，共同讨贼。非本初不可，非本初不可，非本初不可，非本初。好，既然主公有令，袁某只好奉命了。
Oh no, they're too late.
站住！尔等何人？小子，快去叫袁绍出来见驾！我大哥前来会盟了。
哎，你三弟，休得无礼。这位弟兄，请通禀一声，就说平原刘备、关羽、张飞前来会盟。
刘什么？关什么？没听说过。袁将军请你们了吗？
天下兴亡，匹夫有责，何必要请？
既然没请，就快快离去。啊，城关内都是群英聚义，没你们特色。啊，走吧走吧，赶紧走。哼。给我拿下！敢打我！拿下！拿下！拿下！来！
哎，想当初我父王司徒寿宴的时候，也是因为名位太低而被拒之门外。想不到今天这3位壮士和我同此遭遇，啊！
在下刘备，有礼。敢问足下是？
骁骑校尉曹操。
你就是刺董的曹孟德。
曹某未曾见过。
孟德兄刺贼一举已经名扬海内，刘备深感敬佩。
这位将军，你既没听过这3位壮士的大名，那你听说过我曹操吗？
曹公大名如雷贯耳。
在我刺董之前，和他们一样，也是无名之辈。你又怎么知道今天的无名之辈，来日会不会名震天下？假如有一天，他们真的名震天下了，你又会不会为今天的所作所为追悔莫及呢？
曹公说的是，曹公说的是。
3位，随我入关吧。
Also, I don't want to get punched again.
3位英雄，请。
曹操 actually really like Liu Bei.
骁骑校尉曹操，一家众壮士4千，前来会盟。
And can see that Liu Bei
孟德，你终于来了，
not going to
我
be
等可
simple.
都是望眼欲穿了。
曹孟德只身刺董，名扬海内，兄弟见礼了。
孟德，中原800里都贴满了拿你的告。
One Chinese mile is shorter than a mile. Okay.
是，正可谓是天下何人不识君呐！啊！
本初兄，公路兄，孙文泰将军，公孙将军，马腾将军，曹某见礼了。
好，那位将军请坐。孟德，请坐，
请。
请。嗨！你们没有看见我哥哥在这里吗？
三弟，不可无礼。
孟德，这3位壮士是你的人吗？
倒也不是，我是在关前与他们相遇，当时守将正在为难他们，我顺便就把他们带进来了，都是末路英雄了。
哦，
来，3位，我给你们引荐一下，这位就是咱们18路盟军的盟主袁绍袁本初将军。
To be honest, it is a legend
这位是
of these 3 brothers.
对不住，我实在是记不
Start
住。
from nothing.
禀袁盟主，在下刘备，字玄德。这位是我2弟关羽，字云长。这位是我3弟张飞，字翼德。
请问，足下是何出身？
我是汉室宗亲，景帝之子，中山靖王刘胜之后。什么？
请问，足下从何而来？现居何官爵？又以何事为业啊？
刘备世居乡里，并无爵位，以知席贩履为业。2弟关羽河北解良人士，以守门护院为业。3弟张飞河北涿州人士，以卖酒屠猪为业。
哼，一个知席贩履，一个看门护院，还有一个屠猪卖酒的。 可笑3个莽夫竟然在此大言不惭。
王某以为，一个堂堂帝王之后，能在大庭广众之下，天下英雄面前，将知席贩履、卖酒屠猪说得如此泰然，可见此人心胸不凡呐。
说的是，是啊。
隆德说的是啊。刘备，你此行来有何目的？
闻袁本初传书海内，聚义讨贼，在下是来会盟的。
哦，你有多少人马？
连我在内，3人3骑，2弟关羽为马弓手，3弟张飞为步弓手。我兄弟3人一同生死，荣辱与共。
我18镇诸侯，引兵最少的也有15000，你们区3人，也好意思与我们会盟？
救活兴亡，忠义为先，岂在人多？
既然是皇族后裔，那就看作吧。
谢座。
口，
大哥。
Although
he's in line at least.
Although he's emperor descendants,
Yeah.
But after 400 years,
Yeah. And
there's
clearly
just
holding no actual power.
There's just too many of them, and so the not so in line ones just doing whatever.
员工，诸位，我们虽然已经起义讨贼了，但是我们师出无名，为什么呢？因为我们缺一道天子诏。如果我们没有天子诏，我们不就成了乱兵了吗？我们不就跟董卓一样无道了吗？
可天子却掌控在董贼的手中，无法给我们此诏啊！
我出洛阳之前，天子亲手授予我一道密诏，召天下英雄入京勤王，除贼复国。18镇诸侯，接诏。贼臣董卓，篡夺朝纲，秽乱宫廷，残害生灵，祸国弑君。朕泣血守诏，召天下英雄，率义军入京勤王，扩清寰宇，扫平奸贼，中兴大汉。
诶，这诏有些不对呀。
哪儿不对？
天子年幼，且又被董卓居于深宫。再说他也没见过臣下，怎么会把此诏传给你呢？
公路将军说得对，天子年方9岁，怎么能写出如此雄壮的诏书？啊！这诏书乃是我曹操替天子拟的。
原来是矫诏啊
！Get out of here！
请问公路将军，既然那董卓能把天子居于深宫之中，视如掌上玩物，我等为什么就不能视他如草芥，拿他来为我们所用呢？再说，曹某手中的诏书哪一句不是天子想说而不敢说的话？此诏虽假，却比真的更真。我料定，此诏一旦颁布天下，定然是群贼胆丧，群雄奋起。
是
说的
是啊。好啊，好啊，好啊！人言曹孟德乃治世之能臣，乱世之奸雄。 今日一见，果然如此啊！
多谢公路将军夸奖我，我不但替天子拟好了一道诏书，我还替咱们大伙儿拟好了讨贼方略。出洛阳之前，我已经屈身侍贼有半年多了。这半年多的时间里，我已经把西凉军部署的军力、粮饷供给、强弱情况摸得一清二楚。有了这些，我相信咱们就能胜券在握。大伙儿请看。
对，城上的小子们，给我听好喽！我是前将军华雄，奉相国之命，前来讨伐叛贼。如果你们谁能将曹操狗贼的头颅给我提上来，我将免你们不死。报！
兵蒙土，董卓的前锋将军华雄带着西凉大军说要讨伐曹操，正在关前叫骂。
华雄何许人也？怎敢如此放肆？
此人不可小视，他是关西人士，号称董卓麾下的第4员猛将。
第4？那其他3名都是谁呀
？And how did they put them in order?
第2是李傕，第3郭汜，第4员才是这个华雄。
列位将军，我等刚刚聚义，西凉军就来挑战。这次是我军和董贼的首战，此战要求必须战将立功，以壮我盟军的廷威。
末将请求出战，10合之内，定斩下华雄的狗头。
这是我的上将军于赦。
好，取酒来，为于将军助兴。
啊，蒙德，接着说你的方略吧。
好，西凉军。
Do you mind? Guy's got a pretty cool sword spear thing. Ah, they're doing combat of champions, huh?
Yeah, this is the style in ancient time of China. The war, that is the
heroes fight, kind of like
the general fight first.
Yeah,
and everyone just watch first.
Yeah,
and shouldn't interrupt. If interrupt, it will be notorious.
Yeah,
and
very like kind of Greek stories. Yeah, like Homer, the Iliad and that.
And anyway, most of the time is like that. But there's also situation they wouldn't. They just directly charge at each other.
Yeah.
And
when the generals aren't dumb,
but quite often,
and know that they're not going to win a particular one-on-one fight.
Yeah, but quite often when one is challenging another at its gate, then it's this style.
Yeah. What happens then when one wins? Depending on which one, does it actually affect anything? I guess if one's particularly thoroughly owned, then his army might back off.
If the general is already dead, then of course it's just a failure for that side. If he's hurt, then quite often he will call retreat or whatever. And so it's a shorter way to get it solved.
Okay.
Or they might call for another person.
Well, there we go then. I guess he's won. Looks like he's gonna come in. Anyway, right, let's leave it at that then. Yeah? That was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's gonna get loud. I highly enjoyed Cao Cao's blagging. Although it actually doesn't even begin to compare with those other three.
This is
that's incredible, isn't it? Just some dudes who showed up basically are on the Council of Rebels now.
And this is only in modern time people start to see Cao Cao this way. Cao Cao for thousands of years always been just having a bad reputation.
Yeah.
No one ever tried to see him through this way, through another view, because it's anti the value of Confucianism, and Liu Bei is more agreeing with the value of Confucianism.
Yeah.
And I have to say, yeah, possibly Liu Bei will be a better. I don't know. I guess Liu Bei is a little bit too much troubled by the connection with his brotherhood.
Oh right, yeah.
So in that.
Yeah, well, it's pretty clear Cao Cao isn't bothered by anything like that. The absolute psycho.
Yeah. Cao Cao, although treat his generals like brotherhood, yeah? But in his mind,
but he'll drop him in
really.
a heartbeat if he thinks it's the right thing to do.
He will not easily pose himself that way.
No, but that's what he'll do.
Yeah, but if it's really the way to do it, he will. And but Liu Bei really values all the moral and virtue teaching of Confucianism. Confucianism is a philosophy that is a lot emphasizing on virtue. For thousands of years, educated people in China study almost only that.
Yeah.
And
agree. Agree or disagree with it, and many of them did disagree with the details of it, didn't they? It was still ultimately centered around discussion of that, wasn't it?
Yeah. They can discuss in certain situation whether they should choose a lawyer first or xiao first. Such like loyal to the kingdom, to the emperor, all should be xiao. When it is a conflict, such like their own parents did something illegal. And that is a very controversial topic of Confucianism through thousands of years. There's also, in detail about how to do in certain times. They have to update it, But in general, it is about moral. And Taoism is a little bit more flexible on the idea of moral. It believes that nature world doesn't have moral.
Yeah.
Nature world
true, basically.
Nature world do things without consider it's good or bad.
Yeah.
And
it just happens.
Yeah, it just happen naturally.
Yeah.
And they believe letting things happen naturally is good. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything. Doesn't mean Taoism doesn't value virtue, doesn't value moral. Taoism also value moral and value and virtue.
Yeah, it's just that it's like what is it they say that just because the natural world doesn't have moral and virtue doesn't mean that humans don't.
Yeah, and also it emphasizes a lot about karma as well, Taoism. And in fact, modern people always believe that Taoism is a kind of a religion that in a way you just pray to a certain god and you get things. No, it's not that way. And in fact, those figures famous in Taoism are just examples of moral and virtue, what you should do to reach a higher level. They are worshipping them is more like remembering yourself to be like them. And the Taoism training, some do it physically to train themselves, to train their spirit, to train their will, and to strengthen their will, It's only just to prepare yourself. They know that spirit also needs practice. It needs exercise through all sorts of training. It can be small simple test, such like repetitive work.
Yeah.
To train how strong your heart is, that it can persist on it. Also, to train so that one day when you are required to do, this is also an aspect of how strong you can be, you know? For the weak minds, then they want to do moral, but they cannot. Yeah?
Yeah.
And so the Taoism training is also for that kind of aspect.
Yeah.
And also it is through doing good things, building good karma. That's also a very important aspect of Taoism. You have to exercise moral. This is the thing that I think many Chinese philosophy, no matter Confucianism, Taoism, or Buddhism, is very different from the Western philosophies. Like moral isn't just a teaching. You listen to it and you I will try to. And you just forget about it, and when the situation comes, you just see how you will do. It has to be a thing you get prepared.
Yeah.
You practice through small things. Through small things, you make the right choice, and then when it is the situation your mind is already used to, you will directly do the right choice. I guess this is also kind of taught in the Western philosophy, but not emphasized to this degree. That such like, who's that? I think it's Socrates. Socrates said, no, it's not. Oh, it's another one that said, excellence is a habit. But, well, he doesn't mean moral excellence. Possibly he meant, but it's not emphasized only on moral. And it's not directly talking about moral. And in the Chinese culture, it is a lot emphasizing on the moral.
Should we call it an end at that one then?
Okay.
Every one of these, I'm more stoked for the next one. It's proven a fantastic series so far. I'm keen. Feel like I learned a lot. Just a lot of really deep philosophy and stuff there, didn't we? More than I'd have thought.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot. Thanks.
Good. Okay.
Hope you've learned a lot as well, listening along. See you next time then.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
If you've been loving this series as much as I do, feel free to check it out at the link below. We're not sponsored by these guys or anything, but if you want to catch up with us, even get ahead of where we are, and support the people who created it, then by all means feel free to go and buy it. Thank you very much.